How we going, guys? Welcome to the Patriot Campers virtual show. I'm Justin Monisalvo, founder and CEO of Patriot Campers.
And I'm Tommy Mills, National Sales Manager for Patriot Campers.
Let's kick this show off by starting with, how is our new background?
We look very professional.
This looks very, very professional. We're notching this up another level. Tonight, guys, we're going to run you through the X1-H.
Yes.
Pretty exciting night tonight.
It's a good trailer.
I feel like it's going to take us a little bit to warm into this one tonight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, the X1-H is, it was one of the biggest game changers that this company has ever been through. There was so much behind the scenes, so much engineering. The engineering department has grown over the years, and the ideas started floating around about the introduction of composite materials, using electric motors to lift the roof, and just take the camping experience with the Patriot X1 into a whole nother level. And the X1-H really formed the basis for what we've recently launched, which is the X3.
That's right, yeah. I mean, similar materials and things like that.
Yep, there's been a lot of design cues that have been taken into the X3. Now, we're going to run this through tonight, how we've been running through the virtual shows. Tommy's going to open this up with me, then head down into the showroom.
That's it.
And then we'll run through the trailer. Now tonight, we'll probably start by saying we're not going to do a full setup of the X1-H tonight. We've just had the discussion.
Yep.
We're going to really concentrate on the automatic lid, the lifting of the lid. You can see the trailer there up on your screen, looking really good in green. We'll get into that a little bit later on. Now, let's talk about the why, first of all. Why the X1-H? Well, look, for me, the evolution of the X1 happened over the years, and for different styles of trips, there's different tools. Let's put it that way. Now, the X1-H for me is all about really capitalising on the modular design of the Patriot X1. So it's really taking that modularity to a whole new level. For me personally, when I go on my big touring trips, I don't stay in the one spot much more than one night. And if I'm banking 6 or 7 days, travelling across the country, up into the Gulf or over across the Western Australia into the Territory, I need quick setup. I'll bank 1,200-1,300 Ks a day, absolutely no problems. Roll up to camp 10 or 11 o'clock at night. I just want to get into bed, and before the sun rises the next morning, I want to be back on the road as quickly as possible. And that's where the automation, you've been on those trips with me, aren't you?
Yeah, and the X1-H comes into its own, like Simpson Desert, amazing.
Yeah,
you know?
Amazing for that sort of trip.
Absolutely.
Just so quick to set up, but then you still have the advantage with the X1-H that you can turn it into fundamentally what the X1 offers by adding the change room and adding the kids' room. But what needs to be said is, and we will get into this a little bit later on, it does take a little bit longer for the full setup, doesn't it? Because it's not all one piece.
That's right. So obviously, any camping trip that you're on, whether it's just yourself or someone else with you, or the family going with you, you can really tailor that to however you want, really.
So who do you think, Tommy, from your sales experience, who do you think is the perfect fit for the X1-H? What sort of customer buys one?
Look, I kind of call it the sports car, the way the sort of lid comes up, and it really is, you know, two people, or whether young and the kids haven't come yet, or the older people where the kids have sort of flown the nest and they want to do touring. They want to cross the Simpson, they want to see Cape York, they want to do all that sort of stuff where they're doing, you know, big Ks and quick overnight stops.
Yep, okay, so that makes sense to me. Price point in Australia?
$52,990 they start at.
And $39,990 in the United States, yeah?
Yeah.
Where does that sit in the model range compared to the X1, X1N?
Yeah, I mean, look, you're second to top of the range, really. You're right, you're above the X1, obviously, when it comes to price, but you're below the X3. So, yeah, it's really, really well.
Okay, so we're going to have, and I can see some questions rolling through, guys. We're live. There's a bit of a lag here on the YouTube questions as they come through. So to help out, as usual, we've got Graham from Camping Adventures, our Melbourne distributor. We've got Ryan from Off Grid Outfitters, our New South Wales distributor. So both of you guys, if you can give a shout out there, they'll be answering any of the questions that you guys have as we run along. There's a couple of the employees from Patriot on there. I haven't noticed any of the owners that have jumped in there, but any Patriot owners that are there, feel free, give us your experience. They're live with us right now. I think Tommy's going to head down into the showroom.
Yep.
And let's kick this show into gear with the chassis and suspension. Let's start there. So whilst Tommy makes his way down into the showroom, we'll touch on the chassis and suspension. Now, once again, like the past 2 virtual shows that we've done, the chassis is identical in the X1-H, the X1 and the X1N. We'll try and touch on some other points that we haven't covered in some previous shows. I think in this one what we might focus on is the centre of gravity and the design process that goes into getting that really well balanced trailer. I can see Tommy's down there in the showroom now. Tom, you got me?
Yes, I have, mates. How are you?
Yeah, good, mate. You made a quick trip down there, eh?
Very quick. I'm quick on my feet.
Good on you. Mate, look, before we start this off, can we swing around to the other side? Can we have a quick talk about that colour?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's come down
Because
here.
I can feel a Patriot heritage moment coming on right now. All right, the green, the Patriot green. Now, for me still, look, we have 4 colours that we offer in the colour range now, and you get your choice of colours when it comes to picking your X1. You can have the Patriot green, the white, the blue, or the graphite. For me, still the green is the standout colour for me, and I'll tell you how that colour all came about. Now, before we started manufacturing camper trailers at Express Metal Products, my sheet metal business, which still operates up in Brisbane, we were manufacturing very large switchboards, industrial switchboards. Now, this green colour that you see here on the trailer that's up on your screen, on the powder coating spectrum, that is the highest reflection of UV light in a powder coat colour that you can buy. And what that actually means is that reflecting that light obviously reflects the heat, keeps inside of your camper trailer cooler, which makes your fridge run better, gives you better battery consumption. Now that colour, if you take note, when you go around any council job, any federal or council job where there's a switchboard involved, will be specified in that colour exactly for that reason. So like I said, when we were manufacturing the switchboards and it came time to painting or powder coating the very first ever X1, it was a simple choice because we had massive stock of that colour. And still today, it is my favourite colour, Tom.
Yeah, it's definitely the one sort of that I always sort of lean towards, especially the way it sort of stands out and its durability. We always sort of see people's trailers come back through, and after a quick tubs, the green always comes up like brand new. So
as far as pinstriping goes on the trailers, there is no other colour that is resilient as much to the pinstriping, and we expect our customers to drag these things down over crowded tracks where everything's rubbing up against them, and they always seem to come up the best in the green. And surprisingly, it's still a very, very, very popular colour, eh?
Absolutely, and look, I love it. I think this trailer here is definitely one of the best in the market.
All right, I'll second that for sure. Let's get into that chassis, mate. Let's give a quick walk around.
No worries. Okay, look, we'll start at the drawbar again, but like we said, we're going to be focusing on the centre of gravity of this chassis. But we'll talk about the DO35 hitch. Look, we use it. It's the best hitch on the market. It's simple to use, maximum articulation all the way around, up and down. That's by Cruisemaster. And then obviously you've got your drawbar, which is modular again. So if you do have a different style of vehicle and you need to get an extended drawbar, you can option that as well. But you can see, now it's an interlocked welded and hot dip galvanized chassis. So, it's a really very strong componentry, but we use all the main structural components of the steel, okay, and then we use aluminium outriggers. You can sort of see that under the trailer, but I'm going to go around to the back because this is where we're going to be able to see how the water tanks sit in between the chassis rails to keep that centre of gravity low. So if we come around the back here, we're going to just climb underneath and you're going to see there's sort of 2 water tanks on board, so it combines 155 litres of water. And you can see how they're positioned nice and low. So those 4-wheel drive tracks, you're not going to find or be worried about the camper sort of not following you and coming unstuck. So you can see that there. Now just above that front tank there in the middle, just in front of the wheels is your battery, whole battery modular system that then has your airbag air compressor, has your batteries, your BMS and all the brains behind it. And that's sort of sitting there so that it's keeping your weight distribution really nicely. So you've not got too much weight on the drawbar, but you've got just enough. So it's going to be nice and tow really, really well.
Tom, I might just jump in there, mate, because we've actually got a graphic that we can flash up on the screen there. Let's pull this graphic up so we can have a bit of a talk about the centre of gravity. Here it is, there it is there.
There you go.
So you can see there, that's actually the X1-H, and this is from the launch film of the X1-H, which you can find on YouTube. But you can see right there the power module that's sitting right in the center of the chassis, and that's sitting above the pivoting axis of the chassis to give the optimum center of gravity. The two heaviest components that you could put into a camper trailer or a caravan is going to be your battery setup if you don't go with lithium, if you go with a gel or AGM deep cycle. Each one of those batteries comes in about 40 kilos. So when you consider the tare weight of the X1-H is under a ton at 995 kilos, 80 kilos of that is made up of the batteries. Now, above that, what's going to produce more weight or give you more weight is when you fill your water tanks. You've got 160 kilos. So you can see where Tommy was just showing you underneath the chassis there, we've positioned all of the heaviest components of the camper trailer in the lowest position possible and directly in the center of the trailer, which gives you that unbelievable balance and towing ability. If you've ever had the opportunity to follow an X1 down a corrugated road, up a rough track or down the beach, the way these things ride is just unbelievable, and a lot of that is attributed to that engineering design, and just as importantly, the design of the suspension by Cruise Master. The X-Cruise is tuned perfectly for the weight of the Patriot X1, and that's why we have our own proprietary suspension system that, as far as I know, Cruise Master, we're the only company they manufacture that for, because we have that such low tare weight. Back to you, Tom.
Thanks, Justin. I mean, you just cover so much. But yeah, look, a touch on the suspension. X1-H, very similar to the X1, where coil suspension is standard, and the airbag suspension being in your tech pack. So you will get a coil. You do still get a dual shock system on each arm, and they have a 10-inch electric drum brake teamed up with your 16-inch wheel and a 33-inch mud terrain tyre that you can upgrade as well to a Mickey Thompson as well. So look, these are a P-Core wheel, and they're absolutely amazing, and they obviously have that design too. Also connected to the chassis, I'm just going to pull the wheel away so we can see your recovery points. So you can be recovered or recover when you're on the tracks or at the beach, things like that. And there's also a bike hitch receiver there, so you can put a bike rack in there and carry your family's bikes, which a lot of people tend to do. So, but yes, look, underneath as well, we'll just also talk about how the wiring sort of goes through there, so you can sort of see all the wiring's covered, it's not exposed, so that when you're travelling, it's not going to get damaged on those corrugated roads or those four-wheel drive tracks.
That's a really good point. I think the electrical system has got to be, look, that's really got to be taken into consideration. I think I may have touched on this prior, and we might get into it a little bit further, but every single connection that you see externally on any Patriot Camper, any Patriot Campers product, we use Deutsch connectors on each one of those connections. Deutsch connector is IP, I think they're about an IP68 rating. There's no dust, no water ingress. You can literally float a Patriot camper. I'm not saying that we recommend you go and do that. I've been in the position many a times. If you go back to season 2 of Patriot Games and watch our crossing at Arnhem Land, you'll see 2 or 3 Patriot campers floating across behind the cars. Electrical issues are almost non-existent when it comes to a Patriot camper because of the quality of fittings we use. A Deutsch connector at cost is about $9. 2 bullet connectors that you'll see on most camper trailers, and especially on the imported stuff, might run you about 10 or 15 cents. So it's those little things that you can't see. But I think, Tommy, that might wrap up the chassis section. I will say, guys, go back to the X1 video on the virtual show, or have a look at the X1N. There's a bit more detail in how those chassis go together. But I think what we'll do next, Tommy, let's keep in line with the past videos. Let's get into the storage. Now, once again, the storage in any of the X range of trailers has been very, very well thought out. We have accommodation for really anything that you would want to take on a camping trip. So we have specific locations for food storage, clothes storage, but more specifically, the big and bulky items. you need to consider when you're looking at buying a camper trailer, you need to put yourself into that camper trailer and think about the gear that you will take with you. Where do you put your generator? Where do you put your camp chairs? Where do you put your solar panels? Where do you put your Dutch oven? You know what I mean? All of those types of things. Where do you put a porta potty? You need to take them into consideration, because that is the difference between having a camper trailer loaded in the garage, ready to go for any trip, or the guy that you see fumbling, cleaning out the back of his car, or his poor kids in the back of the car with their feet, the footwells just covered in gear, which we've all been there, we've all done that before. And that was the parameters behind the design of the storage space in any of the Patriot X range of camper trailers. Tom, where are you going to start, mate?
I'm going to start at the front today, Justin. I'm going to work my way round the driver's side and show you through all the storage. But look, absolutely right, Justin. Most people coming into one of our camper trailers are coming from loading up the back of the car, playing Tetris with that, having big setups, and when they want to go away, it's a week of prep. Now, by getting a Patriot camper, or with the storage you get on the Patriot camper, it totally eliminates that. So that when you are ready to go, it's literally a case of put some clothes in, fill the fridge up with some food, and take off, and it is as easy as that. So no longer have you got it all spread around the garage. All right, have I got this, have I got that? You've kind of got it all there in one place, ready to go. So we'll start off at the front. Now this one, X1-H here, has been fitted with a utility shelf, a barbecue swingaway with the baby barbecue as well. So up the front here, you're going to do straps and hoses, mats. I kind of look at this like the garage at home. So I'd put all that sort of stuff I'd put there inside the front there. You can still get two 20-litre jerry cans there, and they can be fuel or water, whatever you like, but they are aerated at the sides, so you can carry fuel inside. Now the barbecue just swings out, and it sort of shows you what more storage you've got. So if you didn't have the barbecue swing away, you can get 6 20-litre jerry cans across the front, a generator, all that sort of stuff. So you kind of pick and choose as to how you're camping, as to what you're going to option on to the trailer.
Tommy, one of the small details that we haven't touched on yet, the bottle jack storage. You want to just can we get in there? Can we have a quick look at that? Again, it's all the detail stuff, guys. You know, it's all those items that you're looking for when you need them. And recently in Mongolia, I definitely needed one, but we'll get to that a little bit later on in this video. That has a specific storage location. It's locked in there. You always know where it is. And for me personally, I use that area there where that jack is. That's where I'll keep all of my tools and hoses and all of those sorts of things. I think you run the same, Tom, don't you?
Absolutely, mate. Yep, that's exactly how I run it. And so what we'll do, we'll continue on. You also get a fire extinguisher there, very close to your barbecue. So if, you know, Dad or anyone has a problem burning the barbecue, not that I do, you've got fire extinguisher to put it all out. But let's come around this way, because I'm going to show you this storage here, which is another large area that you can sort of put your gear in. Now you can option for a slide in this compartment here, so you can put a porta potty, or anything that's heavy that you don't want to slide in and put in and out. Otherwise, if you don't get it, you get this large space here that you can put almost anything in there. You've got a camp oven shelf there, which you can. That's what we do there. But again, you can put solar blankets up there and any other type of gear that you want to carry. Again, moving back.
Tommy, I might interrupt you there again, mate, because I'm just having a look at some of more of the detail stuff, which I'd really like to focus on in this particular walk around. Can we get in there and have a look at those circuit breakers? You can see there again when it comes to access, you can see those reset circuit breakers there. Again, in a very easy, accessible place. You don't need to pull out mountains of gear. In every Patriot, the wiring system it's state of the art. It's better than any sort of OE stuff. We should actually in one of these videos bring a wiring harness in and lay it out and show everybody the service module. But you can see there the accessibility to the 2 main circuit breakers. They're the only 2 things that really, if anything goes wrong, that you need access to. Outside of that, it really needs to go to a Patriot service department. They are getting a lot more complex that we would prefer that owners don't access those service modules. The other thing you can see there is that line coming out, that lead coming out. Tom, you want to just quickly show them what that's for?
This one here, yeah. So this is so you have full connection of hot water to your sink. And it's as easy as just unplugging the shower hose to your shower and screwing this on in its place. Once you turn the tap on, you've got gas there. Away you go, you've got hot water at your sink.
And the reason that we don't actually plumb that, guys, and we don't see that plumbed, the Smart Tech, the gas hot water system that we use, if you go with a Webasto as an option, the Webasto diesel system, it's fully integrated. These systems here are classified as a portable system. You can see the thumb screws at the top there, so they're very easily removable. You can go and hang them on a tree, get them away from your campsite, take a gas bottle with you, use them at home or your holiday house, down by the, you know, your jetty if you live on the water. So it gives you a little bit of that diversity as well. Sorry to interrupt there, mate. Let's get through that side box and we'll have a look around the back. Sorry, Tommy.
No problem. I feel like the details are there, mate. You are very good to handle those details. Look, this is your sort of side storage compartment. Now, I didn't put any storage boxes in here today because I really want to show you the amount of volume, and also it can be used for other things. You know, you can put other things in there, not just the storage boxes. But you've also got on this one, because it has the tech pack, has your 1000-watt inverter under there, and you've got your cool little charging shelf. If we're talking about detail as well, if we sort of crouch down a little bit more, that's all your fuses up in behind there for your TVMS. And everything on your trailer. So in there, you just spare fuses, but they're really cool, easy to access again. So your servicing and things like that's really quite easy to do yourself.
And stainless steel bench tops right around the trailer. That's something that we haven't touched on. You know, there's, you know, fundamentally the stainless steel in the first inception of the X1. Oh, I can feel another heritage moment coming on right now. The very, very, very first X1 that we made, all of those infill panels, let's go back to that stainless steel bench top. All of those bench tops were powder coated aluminium, and that was to save cost. Now, stainless steel is very expensive. This is a 304 grade Rymex stainless steel, so it's actually, that product there was developed for kitchen servery. So if you actually have a look at a pub or a brasserie that you walk into, all of the countertops you'll see in this material. Now, it's scratch resistant. But being stainless steel, it doesn't hold any bacteria, it doesn't hold any mold, and very easy to clean. I see a lot of products, a lot of camper trailers now that are powder coated steel. I see a lot of camper trailers that do have timber or MDF bench tops. Now, I said it a very, very long time ago, and this was a big consideration for me personally. At the time of the inception of the X1, my kids were quite young. And tetanus could be a very, very, very big problem when you were out in a remote location. So when it comes to food preparation, and especially with the current climate of hygiene that's going on around the world right now, it is a massive consideration that we put stainless steel inserts on any sort of preparation surface anywhere around the camper trailer.
Yeah, absolutely, and that they do make they're very easy to clean, which I love about them. Just being able to have a door to drop down and have your stuff rather than fumbling on the floor, especially at the beach or in dirt. It makes all the difference, keeping your gear nice and up high. Suppose we talk about the rubber seals as well around all the storage compartments. So they're an automotive rubber seal, and they're going to keep all your dust and water out of your trailer. So these are extremely dust proof, and they're also, because we have a pressurized cabin filter. So if we can pan the camera down to here, that's a pressurized cabin filter. So as the air is forced in through the front, it's going to push inside. Now all the boxes are joined through little sort of holes throughout the boxes, and the air pushes out inside all that, and that pressurizes the boxes and stops all the dust getting in, especially when you're on those corrugated roads like the Plenty Highway and things like that. So yeah, really good area, and the automotive rubber seals do an absolute fantastic job of that. If we come around the back here, we're going to come around the back nice and slowly, Mr. Cameraman. You can see these wet storage boxes. So you've got one on each side, and they're absolutely huge. So you can get all sorts of things in there: recovery gear, muddy boots, floor mats, the base of your tent, all that sort of stuff that you don't want to put back inside the trailer. So you've got one there, and you've got one over here. So yeah, so if you need to grab your gear pretty quickly to recover, that's a really great spot for them, rather than digging through any tool bags or anything like that. So those boxes there are really essential, but we're just getting around to the main storage compartment, and this is the one where everyone gives it the wow, is the amount of storage you can get in there. So we'll just pull this out and put there. But as you can see,
what's that you just had there, Tom?
That was the change room, mate. That was the change room for the X1-H, and we'll obviously go into that when we get to the accommodation section.
Yep.
But in here, this is where you're going to put your big bulky items, your tables, your chairs, your porta cots, all that sort of stuff, where you need that big space. And then we're talking about the service module on the Patriot, where if you look under these two removable panels at the front there, that's your access to that service module. And it's as easy as just letting the door down by removing these wires and crawling in, and away you go with accessing that. On the side here, you've got a really good peg storage or bits and bobs storage. And then here, this is where you're going to put all your dry food and your pots and pans. Now, yes, we set them up like this, but we supply you with all your hoses, your guy ropes, pegs, floor mats, and all that sort of stuff. But this is basically, you're going to move that to the front area, and this is going to be all your dry food and pots and pans in that area there. Again, another rubber seal within a rubber seal, making all that food very, very dust proof.
A double rubber seal.
Double rubber seal.
Well done. All right, mate. Look, let's wrap up that on the storage area. I think that was a great in-depth look into the storage and what the storage was all about. Let's move this thing along. Let's get into the greatest part of any Patriot camper, and that's got to be the kitchen. Now the kitchen on the X1-H is identical to the kitchen in a Patriot Campers X1. So I think we might be able to move through this one a little bit quicker. What we're not going to do today is we're not going to set up the awning. I'll show you a little bit of a clip later on, because I want to really spend the time on the lid. You've seen the setup videos, and you can see the launch film on the X1-H if you want a little bit more information on that. Tom, you ready to go in the kitchen down there, mate?
I'm ready in the kitchen, mate. I just pulled out the fridge and the sink, so we can go.
Let's run that through. Let's start with, look, the kitchen construction is full stainless steel as well, the entire kitchen. Again, we could save a little bit of cost on using other materials on the bases and the dividers and the internals of the kitchen. The thought process behind that was the kitchen is the wet area. That is where you're going to store. If we can pop that little lid there, Tom, let's just show that little wet area in the back. So you can see there behind that, where Tommy's hand is right now, see that little angle, there's a chamfer on the back there, and that's a wet storage area. Now again, for things like sponges and dishcloths that you always put away wet, that actually funnels right through to the front of the kitchen. Tommy, if you can point the camera in the right direction, funnels right to the front of the kitchen there, and you can see that'll drip out the edge if you were to put wet stuff away. Now being stainless steel, it's non-corrosive, and again, it's all in the smaller details when it comes to a Patriot.
Absolutely. So then that's also teamed up with your cutlery drawer, which literally just slides out the side, enough to fit a family or even two families' cutlery in there. All the runners, you know, they run very smoothly. They've got a nice click about them, which is really good, and it sort of shows that the product's got a nice hardy tone to it. When you open the fridge up, so this one here is a 55 litre Waco from Dometic, and this one has the ice maker. So you can either have this one or a 60 litre dual zone Evercool on your trailer, depending on what you want, what takes your fancy. So there's two. So the biggest fridge on there, for people asking, is a 60 litre that you can get onto that slide. We supply you with a drainage hose, so you can drain that water away from your sink. And obviously you can see your hot tap and your cold tap directly there. And all you got to do is turn on the water pump, and you got water directly to your kitchen. If we come around here, and this is where most people spend a lot of their time, is obviously in the kitchen, because this is where, you know, everything happens. You've obviously got your electrical there, and we'll talk about a bit later, but more storage sort of under here for charging. You've got plenty of drawer systems with locks on them, so if you're on an angle, you open the door up, it's not going to fly out at you. But this is great for sort of cups and mugs and things like that. This is another great drawer, and it's got a little light in it because it's a little bit deeper, and you're going to use that for sort of things like salts, peppers, teas, coffees, oils, yeah, all that stuff you're using all the time. When you pop the awning up, you can place it across the top there. Another great drawer for those long spatulas, the barbecue tongs, that sort of stuff. Again, where you don't really know where to put them, well, this is where you're going to put that. Sharp knives, if you've got young kids as well, you can put them nice and up out the way. Then we'll get to a standard item on the Patriot, which is the 2-burner stove. Again, we spoke about the shower not being plumbed. Well, again, this isn't plumbed either. For ease of use, versatility. So if you did want to make a larger bench space here, you can actually remove this off that tray and put it around where the barbecue is, or put it into a communal cooking area if you're with some friends.
Let's also, can I jump in there? Look, there is another great reason that we don't plumb in any gas appliances. The legislation surrounding gas installs in the caravan industry in Australia are quite clouded from state to state, and we've had our fair share of drama with those in the past, but we won't go into that tonight. But what it does mean is for customers that I think, and don't quote me on this, in Queensland we're exempt from annual gas inspections. But in New South Wales, I think, Ryan and Graham, you guys might be able to jump in here and clarify this through the comments, but I think in New South Wales and Victoria, you have to have annual or even biannual inspections on gas compliance when it comes to caravans and towable living style trailers. So that's one less cost that's involved, but I think fundamentally for us, it's all about the modularity when it comes to camping. If you do go back to the Fraser Island comparison video, you'll see we took the Weber barbecue out the front. We couldn't cook in the area where we camped. They wouldn't allow because of wild dingoes. So we had to go and cook in another area, and that just adds to that modular design.
Absolutely, and look, just the versatility, that functionality just makes everything, happy. You're not like, oh mate, I wish I could move that, you can do whatever you like. That actually goes in on a gas strut. Now, I always see a lot of people wondering how that opens, but a little gas strut there stops it from flying out at you and needing any locks systems there.
Sorry, Tommy, I will add to that. Sorry to keep interrupting you there,
that's
mate.
okay,
I'm on
mate.
fire
That's
tonight. Let's show them the little gas bottle holder, the little gas bottle bracket underneath. I don't think that's anything that we've really touched on in any videos before.
No, so there's your gas bottle holder there. So you pull the gas bottle out of the holder there and hang it just there so it's nice and off the ground. And if you have a look under there as well, got a nice and handy bottle opener. And that's also featured on the other side of the trailer. So no matter where you're on the trailer, you're always going to get your bottle of beer or whatever else you're drinking open.
Fantastic, thank you, Tommy. Look, I think we'll wrap up the kitchen there, mate.
Okay.
That's. Oh, you know what? No, we can't miss. There's one fundamental item there that you've missed, and the creator of that item is in the house tonight. The little condiment shelf.
Yes, I know, and she'll have a go at me if I don't mention it.
You know she's going to kick your ass after this, eh?
See, when you're cooking and you're such a great chef like Sarah is, when you're cooking you need herbs and spices. And there's only one way to put that, and that's where the herb and spice rack, just to the side there. So you can have everything you like and still make those amazing meals like Sarah does on a lot of our trips by adding those there.
How frustrating is it? Let me throw it out to people with, that go camping and camp cooking. How frustrating is it when you are looking for something like a little spice jar, or you bring something special to make that one special meal and it gets buried or gets lost somewhere, ends up in the back of the car or under a drawer down the bottom somewhere. That happened to us every single camping trip. And Sarah put her foot down after one of the trips when we used to come back with the big list of changes. She's like, I need somewhere to put all my herbs, spices, salt and peppers, so I never ever lose them ever again. And that's what the team here came up for her. It's probably worthwhile saying before we do get to the next section, Sarah was the driving force behind the kitchen design in the Patriot X1. To be honest with you, when we first designed the X1, it didn't even have a sink. Well, I had a hose coming out the back, and I said, let's just take a plastic tub. So she had a big input into that design, and fundamentally that L-shaped kitchen, if you've had the experience of cooking in a Patriot X1 in a remote location, you would never ever look back. It's an amazing experience. It's an amazing kitchen, amazing layout. All right, so I think that wraps up about the kitchen section right there. We've got some audio coming through from Tommy's mic down there. We are in an industrial area down near the showroom, so apologise for all the hoons here on the Gold Coast, but I was one of them back in the day. Tommy, you remember those days, don't you?
Good times, mate.
Like it
Good
was
times.
yesterday. I think it was on this street too. Anyway, look, I've noticed a couple of questions coming through already. I know the stub axle issue that we just presented through Patriot Games this week. For the first time ever, I broke a Patriot camper in the way of not out of flat out damage. I've rolled a couple of camper trailers in the past on testing trips. but it was the first time that a mechanical failure due to a very, very large impact has seen a Patriot camper not come home. We probably will get into this in the Q&A, but look, I'm going to run you through the series now, Patriot Games, where we put all these camper trailers to the test. Once again, we practice what we preach. We live and breathe what we do here at Patriot Campers, and it shines through Patriot Games, what my family gets up to, what my friends get up to. And if you take it back to season 1, Tommy's first big expedition here in Australia with us up to the tip of Cape York was definitely a memory that, I know, look at him reminiscing, hey?
Oh,
You're getting all goosebumps and cheeks are going all red. And
take me back.
I know, and I think, look, as a business owner, can I throw out to all other business owners, if you want to keep your team motivated and keep them employed and as passionate about what they do for as long a period as Tommy has, take them up to Cape York and get them bogged.
Yeah.
Hey, Tom.
Mate, it was definitely a memorable place, and to be able to go and experience the trailers firsthand in that sort of situation, I don't think there's any better experience than that, and thank you very much, if I haven't said it before.
I wouldn't have done it without you, mate. You missed out on the last two. We'll see if we can get him back. Simpson Desert Crossing, but I think we need another big one. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into the break. Let's roll the trailer, no pun intended, for season 3 of Patriot Games. So there we have it, guys. Season 3 of Patriot Games, and you'll see towards the end of that that clip there, the damage that I inflicted onto a Patriot camper, which we may get into a little bit later on in this series. But if you want to see exactly what happened, go to the Patriot Games YouTube channel and check out the full series. And it's amazing where these products can take you and your family if you push them to the limits. So now we're going to get into the next section. I think last week's episode had a whole different feel to it because we brought in the real boss, the big boss of Patriot Campers, the queen of Patriot Campers. And without any further ado, I'd like to introduce Patriot Supply with Sarah.
Hi guys, I've got to say, Justin, I love that intro. That was really good.
It's getting a little bit. I'm working on it. Like
I like it. Keep it.
I'm trying to bring in,
perfect.
you know, a little bit more flow. Try and ease the nerves. Yeah.
I'm calm now. I feel good.
What do you got for us today, babe?
So tonight we're going to take you through the Patriot Campers Peg Kit. So this is another one that we've put together. Same style as the sleeping bag and a lot of our other products. It's got the 8-ounce canvas bag. You've got your YKK zips, little Velcro strap up here. And if you look inside, you've got 35 screw pegs. So you've got enough to go around. You can even share them with your mates because a lot of the time they don't take them with them. In the back of the bag, you'll see it's got this other little compartment where you have your drill bit. That comes in handy because normally if you throw it in there, you're going to have to pull everything out to try and find this little baby. Screw pegs. I've got to say, since we started using these, the kids actually help, don't they, Juz?
Yeah, I don't know if I'd really agree with that. Nah, look, they do. I think there's a bit of a novelty there for the kids. When you do screw pegs, is not like, I think they have more fun with the drill after they put the pegs in than the actual function of putting the screw pegs in.
I agree.
That's what our kids do. But I'll just touch on too, that little handy pocket in that back of that bag. For me personally, that was a have to have. Now when Sarah was coming up with this design here of the screw pegs, and where she got the idea from, I'm like, babe, we will always lose that little bit, so let's come up with somewhere to put it. So that's my favourite part of the whole kit.
Yep, that's a good bit, and Justin doesn't get frustrated, so we're all happy with that. Now, you get your drill bit, and simple as everyone knows, you just put it in the end of your drill and then to the end of the screw peg. Here's something we prepared earlier.
All right, I'm gonna throw something out here, guys. I want to see in the comments who thinks the little tub of dirt to demonstrate how the pegs go in was a good idea, or was it not necessary? Would people have got it? You might stop a family feud happening later on tonight.
Don't comment, this could be
about
bad.
Whether we did or didn't need the little tub of dirt.
It's a great tub of dirt, I really like it, and we can demonstrate how to screw a peg in. So you put your drill bit in, you put it in the end of the peg, and as easy as this, drill her in, there you go. Ta-da! 2 we prepared earlier as well in our tub of amazing dirt.
Now, look, and all jokes aside, I will jump in here and say, I wasn't really a big fan of screw pegs prior to Sarah getting them in, and we went camping with quite a few of our friends that were using them, and I thought it was a little bit of a joke, to be honest. It doesn't negate the fact that you need to carry a couple of different style of pegs with you, especially if you're living here in Australia and you enjoy beach camping, which we do a lot of. Screw pegs are going to be no good for you in a beach situation. You need to take sand pegs or the big plastic screw pegs. But really, for any other situation, where they come in the handiest is super hard ground. That's where they work the best, where you've got sort of shaly ground or you've got really hard compacted dirt. A couple of turns on an impact drill, and obviously if you're carrying something quality as far as the drill goes, you can really get them into anything, and once they're in, they do not move. And now, honestly, we don't go anywhere without them because we always have an impact drill with us in the toolkit anyway, don't we, babe?
Yeah, that's correct. And also we've made the bag oversized so you can fit your drill in the bag if you want. So you've got one neat little kit with everything. Just quickly, we're running out of time. They do glow in the dark as well. So through the night, the kids aren't going to slip over the guy ropes, which is a good thing, or if someone's had a few too many beers. These retail for $69.95 and you can buy them on patriotsupply.com.au. Check them out.
There you go. All right, Sarah, as usual, you did amazing. You always do amazing. So amazing. Okay, that's it for Patriot Supply for tonight. Now we're going to get into really what everybody here is tuned in to see, the accommodation side of the Patriot Campers X1-H, how the lid operates. We're going to get Tommy back into the showroom. I can see him there. We got him up on screen now. Tom, how you going, mate? We are, look, I will say, by no fault of anybody else but from me, we are running a little bit over time tonight. So I think we get through this as detailed as we can. We won't set the awning up tonight, Tommy. What I might actually do just before you start, sorry mate, let's run a little bit of B-roll that we've prepared earlier of the awning. If we can bring that up.
Step outside and fan out a massive 270-degree awning using our patented gas-assisted mechanism, which delivers unparalleled shade and protection and extends over 3 sides of the X1-H, including the kitchen.
So you can see there that the awning operates exactly the same as the other X range of camper trailers. So Tommy, let's flick over to you, mate, and let's run through what this thing's all about.
Thanks, Justin. Yep, so the X1-H is fully automated. So you get 2 remotes, okay, with the camper trailer. But if you open up this side, if you were to ever lose a remote, so kids hid them and buried them in the sand or something like that, you do have an override switch here that you can use to raise the lid up and down. So don't worry. Plus, we can fully replace the whole module of these as well. So don't worry too much about that. We've thought of everything. But what we're going to do, I'm just going to pop the awning up and then I'm going to put the lid up and show you how easy it is. So these just rise up, as you would have seen in the video, lock them off. Gives this nice height. Then we're going to go around, we're going to unlatch the lid because we use the over center latches to keep it nice and down and dust proof. Like so, I tend to flick them back up so they don't get caught again, and then we just press up. If you can have a look there, Mr. Cameraman. And we'll scan back here. Again, there's a rubber seal under there that compresses against the base there, and that's going to keep all your dust out of the lid.
Tom, I might just jump in there while that thing's opening. It takes about 40 seconds to do a full cycle. We'll just talk about the construction of that lid there. You can keep on Tommy if we can there, guys, and I'll just talk over the top of him. The lid is it's a fiberglass composite. It's vacuum infused. It's not laid like typical fiberglass. The vacuum infusion process gives it much less weight and higher strength than laid glass. Now on the top, it's insulated right at the top where you can see there where those ribs are, and the integration of the solar panel. It's about 20 millimeters in thickness, so it has very, very high insulation properties. The actuators are electronic actuators. Look, we might come back to that a little bit later on when we can actually see them. They're a ball screw style actuator and they're load sensitive, so you cannot overload those actuators right there. If you do get into the situation where they are overloaded, where they've got more pressure on them, say something's jammed or whatever situation you had, an elephant sitting on top of your camper trailer, they'll get to a certain point and they won't try and push anymore and then blow anything inside of those actuators. So there's a little bit of the tech stuff on the materials that are used.
Absolutely, Justin. And we also missed one of the tech stuff would be the inbuilt solar panel on the roof. So obviously wherever you are, that's always connected. So as long as you're picking up some sun, that's going to take it on there, and they work amazing. So you don't have to worry about putting blankets and things out. You've already got on the roof, so as soon as you pull up to camp. Another really good feature and reason why it's so quick. What I want to show you, and I get it all the time, is where does the water go when it's raining between the kitchen. Now, we've got another rubber seal that we use. so it pushes up hard against that, and that stops any water coming directly in between there as well. Now on the back with the awning, we have another sort of system that we use, and I'll sort of show you that when I've got it all out, and show you how we stop the water getting in between here and the awning. Okay, all right, so the lid is up. Now what we want to do is just open up, move the canvas off the side. So we're just going to basically free up all your canvas. You've got some handles here, so you can lift that up out of the channel system. And it's basically your arms up high, and then pull back, lift up, pull this bar down, and you're almost there. So you're under, so if it's raining, you're pretty much under cover straight away. You've got a tropical roof on there, and you just sort of connect that up to the side here. We're using these really great little magnet connectors, and then you've got your guy rope there you can connect, so you can peg it out to keep that tropical roof nice and tight. Now, what you want to do is pull the bed over. So we're just going to lower this flap here, and you'll press the button there to give you some lights inside. Now that button, same as you would have with the next one, has a soft touch, so it'll lower the light and give you some ambiance, and then brighten it up. Now this bed here has got pillows and one of our large Patriot Supply sleeping bags. So that's all packed in there, ready to go. So on the side you've got these little connectors, and I'll probably show you when we come around this side how they sort of work. You've just got a little pull tab there, easy to access from the side, okay? And then there's two things you can do. You can either reach over the bed if you're tall like me, or you can get it from the side. So, but I'll just sort of grab it here, pull it over, disconnect the ladder, lift it up, find the most appropriate hole, get your handrail out, and then nice and easy, pull your bed over. Now
that there, Tommy, I'll just jump in right there. That what you just did right there in a single operation is about 60 seconds to get it to that stage. Majority of the time when I'm traveling, unless I'm in a midge infested area or a high insect infested area, that's me done. I'm into bed. Me and the twins, we're banking big Ks, we pull up 60 seconds. That's exactly what we do. We're into bed, out the next morning. It is that quick.
Yeah, absolutely, and it is a really nice space up there. Same mattress as the next one, an inner spring gel top. Mattress, very, very comfortable, but as you can see, I'm not having to make the bed. I can literally climb up in there and away you go. Now, obviously, if you're not as brave as Justin and you do want to secure yourself in, you just drop this screen here, and that sort of keeps you nice and blocked in there. And there's obviously a mesh screen as well, so you can keep that breeze. You see the large windows on the side as well. And you've got the rear access hatch there. If you guys go around there, I'm going to jump up and open that window. So in the morning, you can pass a cup of tea through, and really easy. We also supply you with a privacy screen to block this off and block you from your neighbours if you're near any.
Tommy, what we might actually do, mate, if you can still hear me inside there, what we might do is we might get you to set that change room up. So let's go back to that wide of Tommy coming down the staircase, guys. I'm going to say this one is definitely going to run over time today because we have got a little bit more to get through. Now, if you've got, let's talk about the staircase real quick. The staircase is a patented item here at Patriot Campers that is featured on the X1-H and the X1. Absolute game changer away from a ladder, especially if you've had a few too many drinks. But what you can do is you can enclose that entire area that Tommy just showed you. In the interest of time, we won't set that up right now, but watch the X1-H launch video. Tommy's going to bring over the change room. And what we'll do is, while Tommy quickly sets that up now, the downside of the X1-H, if you want to use the change room on every single camping trip, i.e. like an X1, the X1 is going to be much quicker because you don't have to zip the X1 on. The X1 is integrated. What we might do is let's quickly flick over to a couple of clips that we have available. The first one I'm going to show you is a cycle testing clip from when we originally designed the X1-H. We're doing a cycle count. We're doing a cycle test on the X1-H lid and the actuators, and effectively what we're trying to do is break it. We haven't broken it yet. You can see right here we're at 1,088 cycles, which if you open and close the tent every day, there's 3 years worth of, or close to 3 years worth of opening and closing. But we've taken it one step forward. Here we go, 0, here it goes. So what we've done with the lid is we've simulated, we've taken the canvas off, so we've got full access to see any failure points. Nothing has failed yet, and that's hand on heart, the honest truth. The Oki straps that we've got there are simulating the weight of the canvas, so we're trying to get the weight as close to what it would actually be opening and closing every day. Okay, so that clip there demonstrates what we actually put into getting this thing engineered. So over 1,000 cycles of testing we did, the fail safes that are built in, and worth noting, if an actuator ever did fail, we're still getting the audio through from the showroom. Let's flick back to Tom. Tom, how you going there, mate?
I'm going good.
Good, change room's on. Sorry, mate, I'll just finish saying what I'm saying. I think we're getting your audio over the top of me. Now, if we go back to that fail safe that I was talking about, at the top of the lid of the X1-H, I just lost where I was at for a second. Top of the lid of the X1-H, you have 3 bolts. You can unbolt, and we might show them in a second when we go back to Tommy, but you can unbolt the 3 bolts at the top, and the actuator will drop out, and you can still open and close the lid and use something as a wedge if you were on a camping trip. Say if you did have a failure, we keep those actuators here in stock. We post them out to anywhere across Australia. I think so far in the time of the X1s that have been out, we've posted out 2 actuators, and that's a pretty good hit. 2 of them were from the early designs. So reliability-wise, the X1-H has exceeded all expectations because of that initial testing that we put into it. Tommy, let's have a look back at that change room there.
I'm just about to get in. I'm just doing the little fly screen here.
Before you do, let's get a nice wide shot there. So you can see here, now with the change room on, you are 100% secure from midges, insects, all the rest of it, and you have the ability to have that change room, should you require it for your sort of style of camping. So fundamentally now, that X1-H is really looking like an X1.
So if you come inside, I've pretty much done that. Bed's over, ladder down, and look, pull the bedding back over, and you're good. You've got that nice enclosed area similar to what the X1 was giving you, and just like that. I don't know how long that took, Justin, but it's nice and easy. It's easy enough to do if you need to do it.
And look, it is amazing. It is amazing what getting rid of that one piece of canvas does and having a hard shell over the top of your head for the living space. Let's go back to Tommy. You can see there the whole inside of the lid there is lined in that hex pattern, which keeps in fitting with the range, the style range here at Patriot Campers. It's a cushion padding. Waking up inside of that thing is absolutely amazing. There is a massive temperature difference between that and straight out canvas with just having that bit of insulation there. But it's just an amazing space. You've got tons of headroom up there. If we flick back over to Tommy, you can see Tommy sitting up there. You can open all the windows all the way around with that cross ventilation, having that window behind you as well. Here he goes. Tommy's going to open that window. All Heroku mesh that we use right throughout the tents. It's all cooler bar canvas in the tents, 275 GSM. Tropical fly, all that ventilation there. It really is an absolutely amazing space, but you won't really know until you wake up inside of a Patriot X1-H, would you, Tom?
Mate, I mean, it is an experience you have to know. But I was going to say on that, having the hard lid is really nice because you actually lean the pillows up against there and sort of sits kind of slightly up in bed. If you want to read a book and things like that, with this really nicely positioned light there, it does help if you want to relax a little bit more before just jumping into bed.
Awesome, mate. Do you want to step back outside? Let's get another wide shot. And what we'll do while you're doing that, we've got a graphic there of the 3-stage setup of the X1-H. Okay, so you can see step one there, the CS3 tent on its own, and that's the basic tent setup, which is still fully enclosed, protects you from the insects and all the rest of it. Step two, you can add on the change room. The change room does not pack up inside of the X1-H lid, so you do have to remove it on every trip. That's a consideration. If you find that you're going to use the change room more often than not, X1 might be the trailer for you. Step three, you can add on the exact same kids room that we feature on the X1. It has a single pole and a single guy rope, and the living space can then be converted into the X1. Now, when you, and this is the big one that Tommy, I know that you'll back me up on this because I hear this question answered all the time. If you're specifically looking to accommodate a large family, say a family of 4 or 5, you're going to have 3 kids bunks set up all the time, that whole tent can be packed up in under the soft floor of the X1, and that's the advantage of a soft floor camper trailer. So for me personally, if my kids were still sleeping inside the tent, that would be the trailer for me. For where I am in my life right now, where I may put the change room on or I may put the kids room on for Mia, but more times than not, I'm just going to run the step one setup. Well, it's a no-brainer for me. It's the X1-H. Would you agree, Tom?
100% mate there, absolutely. Everything you said there is exactly the reason why, you know, it's one or the other. You know, rarely will I get someone coming in going, I don't know if it's the X1-H. Very quickly after speaking to them and showing them the tent setups, they very quickly make their mind up as to which one's going to be the right one for them.
And that's the key to it, eh? We do actually have another clip there. We've got a clip there of the X1-H tent setup showing the kids room. So let's roll that up real quick.
Go lean with a bedroom-only setup suited to serious, no-frills tourists. Or zip on the change room for a bit of extra room and privacy that's suited to couples. Or go all out with the family and attach the optional kids room, which comfortably fits 2 bunk beds and folds into its own carry bag for storage inside the X1-H. Our entire patented CS3 tent system is made up with a heavy-duty canvas, which, when set up with a tropical fly, fully insulates the tent to protect against the elements.
So that gives you a really good idea. You could see in one of those clips there, Christian Nash and my boys on the bunk beds inside the kids' room. We're gonna have to wrap up the accommodation section there. Again, for more information, contact any of the dealers, visit the website, or if you want to right now, tonight, or after watching this video, go to the X1-H launch film and that'll give you a lot more insight. So let's get Tommy back over the kitchen and let's roll through the services in the Patriot X1-H. And when it comes to services in the X1-H, it has everything that you'd expect a Patriot Campers model to have. We have the tech pack available, which I'll let Tommy run you through. Standard fittings are a Red Arc battery management system, a BMS 30 with rocker switches. With the tech pack, you can upgrade that to the TVMS, which gives you the ability to control the whole system from an app. But I might get Tommy to run you through that in a little bit more detail. Tommy, we will have to fly through this section, mate. We are running well over time for tonight's episode. So let's quickly touch on power and water. But everybody who's watching, keep in mind you can refer to the X1 or the X1M video for more detail.
Thanks, Justy. Okay, so look, the trailers, the X1-H comes with 2 150 amp hour gel batteries, and you can upgrade them to 2 100 amp hour lithium batteries as well. So you get, like we spoke before, you've got 155 litres of water on board. Now this one here does have a tech pack, so it's got airbag suspension that you can use to raise and lower each side of your trailer to level it out when you're pulling up to camp or having lunch or dinner and that sort of thing. And you get the TVMS, which is called the Total Vehicle Management System. And behind there is obviously the BMS 30, okay? So this is sort of the front operation of it. Now with this, you can turn lights on and off, see what your water level gauges are doing and see what your battery power, what your consumption is. You can see what your solar's been doing for the day. and things like that. So this is going to control everything to do with lights and power and give you all that information you need in one screen. Now, you can Bluetooth to your phone and be able to have a look at that while you're around the fire, up in bed, and that sort of stuff. So you can turn all the lights on and off using Bluetooth. Also, with that, you've got two USB and a 12-volt outlet here. There's two inside the actual tent, so you can charge your phone at night time. And there's two on the back of the trailer, so multiple 12-volt charging on the trailer. Also with the tech pack, you get a 1000-watt inverter. No, so standard, if you don't have the tech pack, there's no inverter on an X1-H. But if you get the tech pack, you get a 1000-watt inverter, and that's going to pretty much charge anything that you want to do. Power drills for the screw pegs, electric chainsaws, that sort of stuff. It's going to do the job. So that's all part of your power system. Now, water. So you've got a gas hot water system as standard, and we spoke about before, you can get a diesel hot water system. So let's sort of go around this side, and I'll show you that one. Or not, hang on 2 seconds, let me just push the bed away.
So typically speaking, what you would do in that situation before you set up the change room or the tent, obviously not knowing that we were going to get back around here today, that door is designed to remain open, and it keeps the gas hot water system on the outside of the tent, so it's accessible all the time. Now, obviously, if it was raining, you want to keep that door closed. But when you get to set up your camp, same as on the next one, first thing you do is you open that side door so your gas hot water system is exposed, and then you get the change room out and you peg everything down.
Thanks, Justin. Yes, rookie error there, but look, that's exactly what you do. And typically we run a shower tent that's about sort of 2 meters away from the shower unit, so you keep a lot of the water away from underneath that tent, so when you're packing up it's a lot cleaner. But that's your gas hot water system. You can get a diesel hot water system as an option. That gives you heating into the tent. Heating with an X1-H is absolutely amazing due to the fact that you do have that insulated composite roof, really keeping a lot more of that heat in. So it's very, very efficient, especially if you don't have it all opened up and you just keep yourself in there. With the drop down bit there without this tent on, it makes it very, very cozy. So a really great feature for the X1-H. And also the diesel gives you plumbed hot water to the sink, and it's all plumbed up. All you got to do is press the button. It takes about 10 minutes to heat up, and away you go. The difference being, the gas hot water system is instant. So all you do is plumb your gas in, plumb your water in off the drawbar. So there's a tap on the drawbar that's directly connected to those water tanks with a water pump. Plumb it in, pull the trigger, and away you go. Okay, so there's two different styles. It all depends on what sort of budget you're running with and what your wants and needs are for those sort of services.
Tommy, I'm going to have to interrupt you there, mate. We might just to wrap up this section, I'll quickly talk you through a couple of things on the camper trailer. The question gets asked a lot as far as battery consumption. How long will my batteries last? Now, we're running 250 amp hour gel batteries. That question is how long is a piece of string? Typically, I would find, for me and the way that my family camps, and depending on the temperature, I'm good for about 4 to 5 days with no charge. You have your DC to DC input via your Anderson plug that's charging while you're driving. With the X1-H, you have that solar panel on the roof, so if you do have sun whilst you're driving, while you're stored or at your campsite, it is charging, but typically speaking, I would set up in the shade here in Australia or in Queensland specifically, and I would still carry a solar blanket, and the X1-H still has a second input for solar. You've got 12-volt outlets all the way around the camper trailer, anywhere that you need them, inside the tent, the rear of the trailer, in the kitchen area, and of course LED lights right throughout the trailer. There you go, there's one of the 12 volts at the back, right throughout the trailer. Electric water pump, of course, but we still do get asked that question a lot. You've got that water tap on the drawbar that Tommy showed you, plus your water outlet at the sink. We're gonna have to wrap up the services right there for tonight, guys. Again, I'll keep referring everyone back to the X1N and the X1 virtual tour or the X1H launch film for more information. What we're going to do right now to give Tommy the time. Tommy, you still got me there, mate?
Yes, got you.
I think we're going to have to roll into a message from our sponsors. You need time to get back up in here?
I think so. I'm coming.
Are you ready for the Q&A, Tom?
I'm ready for the Q&A, mate.
I've seen some pretty tough ones coming through. I think you're gonna get an ambush right now, mate.
Okay, you're going to leave it all to me, are you?
Are you ready? Yeah. Well, if it's hard and it's something that's subjective and I shouldn't answer, I think I'm gonna have to pass the ball over to you, right?
I'm ready, mate.
I can't always be the bad guy. All right, let's run into this message from our sponsors, sort of. Patriot Games competition. Check
To
this
celebrate Season 3 of Patriot Games, we're giving you the chance to win the ultimate family touring package worth over $150,000. Enter now to get your hands on a brand new Isuzu D-Max kitted out to handle a Patriot Games adventure using the gear we know and trust. And if that's not enough, you'll also receive a Patriot Campers X2 to tow behind it. Plus, receive a brand new Polaris Ranger for the kids and loads of camping gear. Entries close June 30, 2020. Enter online now at patriotgames.tv.
And there you go, there's the first little clip on that Patriot Games competition. How is that competition? Would you like to win that prize?
I would love to win that.
Who wants a free Patriot X2? Oh, and a free Super, well, not a Super Tour, a free D-Max built by Patriot Campers. Oh, and a Polaris for the kids.
I think it's the ultimate package and I'm devastated I can't win it. So.
Yeah, well, you can't win it. No employees of Patriot are allowed to win it. Guys, we're going to get into the QA section right now, and I knew it, I called it. Question number 1 that's come up. Will you want to go with a removable stub axle after finally breaking one? And would you put a spare integrated in the spare, assuming you mean a spare into the trailer? Look, that is a really, we've got to be very cautious about answering this question. We have done testing on bolt-on stub axles in the past and had a lot of luck with them, to be perfectly honest with you. What would concern me more about high impact and shearing a stub axle would be a stub axle coming loose unintentionally that you had no idea it was going to happen, because it is quite a scary thought. Now, in the latest Mongolian episode on Patriot Games, the one that aired on Tuesday on the Patriot Games channel, for those who don't know, I had a very, very high impact with the 200 series Land Cruiser getting anchored to a dead stop by a Patriot X1, which put the whole force onto the stub axle and it bent the stub axle. Now, a couple of kilometres down the road, not that far down the road, that stub axle kept moving back and forth because it was bent. Eventually it caused brittle fracture and sheared the stub axle clean off and the wheel came out from underneath. At this point in time, that did not change my theory on bolt-on stub axles. And I'm not saying they don't work by any stretch of the imagination. Our experience, our personal experience is we think we're onto a much better thing with welded in stub axles into our suspension arms. We have had stub axles being bent before at Patriot Campers, not common. I can recall probably 4 or 5 arms that we've changed over the 5 or 6 years, and all driver error, never by fault of the trailer or fault of the stub axle. A stub axle, you know, you're talking there about 2-inch diameter where the bearing housing sits, maybe a little bit bigger, they might be about 60 millimetres. To bend something like that takes a massive, massive impact. So to take the monkey, to attack the white elephant, at this point in time, we're not looking at changing. Okay? Cool. Now let's get into questions about the trailer. What happens if closing the lid without power, aka used all the battery capacity?
Yeah, great question. Look, we've actually done a fail-safe there where you can actually disconnect the lid from the actuators and raise it up and lock it into place with the poles that we provide for the change room. So that is the best way to do it. So far, haven't had to do that.
Well, we have on one instance, but that was a product failure, and that was right in the early days. Outside of that, the life cycles that we put these things through, those actuators through, and we searched high and wide and done a lot of testing before we settled on the manufacturer of the current actuators that we have, and they've just been absolutely amazing. Can the change room not still be attached when packing up, or does it need to be removed before packing up?
Yep, absolutely. So look, you do have to remove the change room. So like we sort of discussed, if the change room was really important and that was something that you wanted to have on all the time in your trailer, you're best to go to an X1. If it's something that you'd be like, okay, after a couple of, we're going to stay here, it's really nice, we just want a bit of privacy, then you're going to keep it on. But yes, you will remove that change room when you pack up the tent.
Every time. This one's a complicated one, and I wasn't sure whether this had come up in a video, and you're going to have to answer this one, Tom.
Okay.
What is Tommy's accent?
Oh, Tommy's accent. Well,
He's a Kiwi. Tommy's a Kiwi.
Jamaican, actually. Jamaican, as you can see. No, it's English, from a little country county outside London called Essex.
London boy, Essex boy.
Essex boy.
And I'm sure we've all heard, let's not go into the stories of what happened back there, Tom. What size is the bed in the X1-H?
Another great question. Look, I can't off the top of my head remember the actual dimensions, but it's not quite a king, but it's bigger than a queen.
It's a little bit bigger than a queen. They're 2 metres long, so they're 2050 long from memory. So they're actually longer than a king size bed, but they're a little bit wider than a queen size bed. What I will say is ample amount of room for a couple, or even Sarah and I still do it to this day. Sarah, myself and my daughter, that's how we roll, that's where we sleep. When me and the boys are out on a hunting trip, me and the twins, they're 16-year-old now, they're men, they're taller than me now. 3 of us still sleep up there really comfortably, so it's an amazing area. Would you take the X1-H through the old telly track and deep crossings like Nolan's any day of the week? And I would be up there every day of the week if I possibly could. Go back to season 1 of Patriot Games. Look at our Cape York. Something's wrong with me tonight, eh? I think my brain's fried. It's been a big day here at Patriot. It's been a big day here at Patriot Campers. And my dentist wanted to pull my tooth out at 11 o'clock this morning, so that's why I'm talking a little bit funny. I still can't feel this side of my lips. I've got to go in there tomorrow morning and get one of my teeth removed. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. If you go back to season 1 of Patriot Games, check out our trip on the old telly track where we dragged toy haulers, X1s, the whole program through there, Nolan's and that. Not a drama for any Patriot camper. What have we got next? What does it take to break off the latch and accidentally uncouple the DO35? Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Unless the pin was not locked. I've put that DO35 through, and I'm talking some really, really tough stuff. I've been to stub axle with 5 tons, and the stub axle what gave before the pin on the DO35. DO35 is quite clever in its design. As long as the dust cap is sealed on top of the DO35, your hitch is locked. So that's your visual cue. I'll quickly go off target for a second. Every time I pull up in a remote location in a camper trailer, every time, whether I go into the service station for 2 seconds to pay for fuel or whatever, I've got this little thing in my head. I'll walk out to my car, you see me do it. I'll start from the left and I'll always do a lap around the back of my trailer. I'll look at all door latches closed, all wheel nuts look good because we torque mark all of the wheel nuts. Walk around the back, all the back latches closed, walk around the front. Very last thing I look at is the DO35 coupling. If the cap is on, the hitch is locked. End of story, yeah? Can't be done. Do you have plans to option the X3 hexacore awning on the X1 or sell it as a standalone product to install on your car? I'll jump in and answer that one. At this point in time, no, we won't be putting the hexacore awning anytime soon on the X1. I'm not saying that it may not happen in the future, but a pretty clever question there, or selling it as a standalone product to install on your car. We're currently working on it. That's as much information as I can give you right now. Any chance of doing the RRT as a standalone, assuming RTT rooftop tent as a standalone, so I can mount a second one on the roof of my Jeep? No. The system is very, very complex. It's very complicated in its design. The hinge mechanism, the geometry that goes into the hinges, actuator mounting points, all those static load points of the hinges and any other fixings and fasteners, you would not be able to put it onto any other vehicle. Can you upgrade to lithium batteries?
Yeah, we discussed it before, just before coming back here. Yes, lithium batteries you can. So there's 2 150 amp hour gels and we replace them with 2 100 amp hour lithium batteries.
Perfect. Justin, thoughts on Fink being cancelled this year? What would be a fair analogy on Fink being cancelled this year? Heartbroken, devastated, death in the family.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, it's been such a big part of our adventures.
It's a trip we look forward to every year.
Over the past 3 years, it's been, a very, very big part of the brand and, you know, the off-roading and the Simpson Desert and being in the geographical centre of Australia, and Tommy and I as mates, gutted, gutted. And we had something so big installed for everybody for this year, so big, so big.
Oh.
But I think we're going to have to wait until next year. And the twins, I've got to say, the twins are equally as devastated.
Yeah.
What is the maximum and recommended PSI pressure for the air suspension? Do you know the answer to this question?
I do. Yeah, so it's 100 PSI is your recommended. You're never going to get there.
Recommended max.
Max. You're never going to get there with one of these. You're just not going to load that much in there.
All relevant to the load that you carry.
Yeah.
So recommended load pressure on an unloaded X1-H, i.e. completely dry, you would run somewhere around 30 to 40 pounds. But then as you load it, you start increasing the pressure.
As you add options as well, that increases.
Exactly, yep. Whether you have a full fridge or not, left, right, so that all changes. Has the airbag suspension ever popped while on a trip? I will say, hand on heart, any Patriot owner that can correct me on this, please correct me on this because I'm unaware of it. We have never, ever, ever replaced an airbag. Never. In the history of Patriot Campers that I am aware of. Graham, Ryan, jump in there. Correct me. And look, I haven't been in service department for a very long time. I will say that though. But the attrition rate on airbags would be so marginal. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
From the old style of bags and even the new style, the roll sleeve bags, it's just not an issue. Yeah. And I've got to say, when I first designed the first, am I too late for a heritage moment? Can I get a heritage moment? That's 3 for this show. Look, we do look good in there. When I designed the first Patriot Campers X1, it was on Coral Springs, and I built the first one for me. The second Patriot camper that I ever built was for my best mate, Matty, who's been on Patriot Games since day one. You know, Matty, you can't miss him. He's like 7'6" and like $140. He's a unit. But he had to have airbags, had to have them, would not buy one without, not buy one, it wasn't a matter of buying one. It was like, Justin, you're putting airbags in the camper trailer that you're building for me. Now, when we went on the first proper shakedown trip, he had airbags, I didn't. I was one of those guys, airbags. What do you want airbags in a camper trailer? You're going to have nothing but problems. You're going to pop them, blah, 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 blah. By night number 2, and we were on the road for about 14, 15 days, I was gutted and it turned into a joke. You remember that?
Yeah.
He used to pull up on the track, get hit his camper trailer, level the trailer. I'd be there with a shovel digging holes to level my trailer on the side of the telly track. And since that day, I've never personally owned another Patriot camper without airbags. They are that good. They're a game changer. Do you get any gas fumes into the tent when the hot water service is operating? The top exhaust outlet looks to be close to the windows. I'll answer that question. Bluntly, yes, you will smell the diesel. There is, depending on which way the wind's blowing, there is so many different variables to that question. But no, the exhaust is actually plumbed underneath the chassis. So the plumbing goes through the main box where the diesel system sits. It's got a little muffler, and then to keep the noise right down, and then it runs underneath the chassis and it'll blow those diesel fumes underneath the chassis. If you're in the right wind conditions, yes, you will smell it. If the wind's blowing away from your camper trailer, no, you won't smell it. And that really answers that question.
What about if they meant like the gas hot water system?
Oh, the
like
gas?
Like
Sorry?
he spends a lot of time in America, so he sometimes comes back with this, but it could be the gas hot water system.
Yeah, that's actually true. When the well, it just says when the hot water service is operating. If we're referring to the LPG system, the propane system, no, you don't smell it at all. Well, it's just, it doesn't smell at all. If you're referring to that big vent at the top, yes, that vent at the top will get warm. It doesn't get burning hot.
No, it's steam. It's steam.
It's steam, yeah. So no, you don't smell any gas. LPG, propane. Does the TVMS Bluetooth reach the driver's seat when you're traveling? Yeah, 100%. Like your standard sort of Bluetooth range, I would say 20 metres.
Yeah, roughly 20 minutes.
Yeah, something like that. Any sort of normal Bluetooth device. Can you have an external third battery connected up to the camper? Not something that we do. You could get it fitted aftermarket, but I would dare say if you were to get something like that fitted aftermarket, you would probably void your warranty on the electrical system. The electrical system is designed for 2 batteries, and that's what we've done all of our testing and our R&D on. So to answer that question bluntly, no, it's not an option that is available. That's going to wrap up the Q&A.
Big night.
Whoa.
big night.
My voice hurts and my tooth is killing me. Okay, so let's have a recap on where can you buy a Patriot Campers X1-H.
So Patriot Campers, you can buy them here in Queensland at Patriot Campers HQ. You can buy them at Off-Grid Outfitters in New South Wales. You can buy them in Victoria at Camping Adventures near Carrum Downs. You can also buy them in South Australia at TJM Nailsworth. And you can buy them in the USA at Exploration Outfitters and in Mongolia at TRC. So
that's been well rehearsed. Australian dollars, the X1-H starts at $52,990. What we showed you tonight has the option of the tech pack and had a barbecue swing away in that one tonight.
Barbecue swing away, fridge and a barbecue. So
yep, US dollars, $39,990 in the US. They come with a 5-year structural warranty worldwide. All of the fitted appliances are as per the manufacturer's warranties. You can find out a lot more about these trailers on patriotcampers.com.au. As I've mentioned a couple of times throughout the video, scour the YouTube channel. There are some videos on there from Patriot owners, some other outside people that have done videos on their experiences. But we have the X1-H launch film, which is very, very comprehensive. And you can have a look at that a lot of those videos based on the X1 or even the X1N model to get a little bit more information if you're looking at for that. If you're liking these virtual tours, and let's quickly, the feedback's been amazing, hasn't it?
Yeah.
You know, during the time that the world's kind of going through at the moment, it's forced us to look at things a little bit differently. There are people that, you know, that are interested in the products. They wanted something a little bit more in depth. We threw out a post on Instagram the other day about what we could do to improve. Feel free to shoot us an email here at Patriot HQ if you've got any other things that you want to see. Tommy controls all the sales here at Patriot Campers HQ and the national sales network. So ultimately, he is responsible for all of our customers, as we all are here at Patriot Campers, including the people here on the production line that proudly manufacture the 7-time Australian Camper Trailer of the Year winner right here inside this factory. And they are as proud and as passionate about the brand as we are. Thank you very much for tuning in. Make sure you like and subscribe to these videos and keep an eye out next week in the next instalment of the Patriot Campers virtual show.